Hello and welcome to another episode of Displaced Yinzer's Beer Reviews. Got another beer that I'm excited to review. It's the classic Saison. I'm ashamed to admit that I haven't had this in a really long time, which is it's just a shame because this beer is great. I actually picked it up today because I was at a local bottle shop just looking for what's new, whatever. And they had these guys on the 50% off shelf. So this bottle was only $3.50, and I could not pass that up. Even if this thing was sitting in the sun all day, I don't care. It's a green bottle, whatever. That's what you get from some of these anyways. So, for those of you who might not have had this, which is possible because it is a real traditional beer. It doesn't get hype or anything like that. It's from Saison Dupont Brewery. It's Ville Provision. It's their the classic Belgian Saison. So it's not like the American Saisons that are basically sours. I mean, it definitely has some natural wild character to it, but it's not like a sour beer. But it doesn't have the bullshit like fake spices either, like some of the American Saisons that aren't sour. And again, that's green bottles usually aren't good for like lagers and things like that, but for anything that's wild, they're great because it really gives it that little bit of possible hop skunkiness actually seems to add to wild beers. So I'm just doing this because I've had some bad luck with cork and cage stuff just shooting off almost in my face recently. So it doesn't look like that's the case here, which is good. Ooh. Whew. Certainly lively. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean it's very it definitely does have like that green bottle skunkiness character to it, but it's not like overwhelming, but it also has a lot of Barney character too. It's a 2014 cork, which is I'm assuming that's probably when it was brewed. I don't know. I don't think this is something that they would age in a bottle for very long, so maybe this is just a really old bottle. So I might have gotten hosed, and this might just be complete shit because they've had it forever. But this isn't the kind of thing that I would imagine would go bad right away, as long as it was in somewhat decent condition. So we'll see. But maybe it wasn't, and that's why it's half off. Well, that's very carbonated. Look at this. I don't know if you can see there. Probably not, but the bubbles there, you might be able to see a little bit. The bubbles are going like crazy from the bottom of the glass. I know there is an etching in the middle of the bottom of the glass, so that's probably why. Because it's definitely not dirty. So I don't need to pour the whole thing. I don't want to even bring out more head than there already is. If you see, it's not, I mean, it's like very, very lightly cloudy. It looks cloudier in this video than it really is. You can, if the carbonation stops, you could definitely see through it. It's, almost like a peach color, a champagne, darker yellow. I wouldn't say it's orange. It might look like an orange hue, but it's, definitely like a dark golden color. So the aroma I'm getting is very, very funky. Not like blue cheesy funky, but like that Brett Barnyardy. I mean, it definitely has a little bit of that skunk character too, but it's more of like a Brett Barnyardy wet blanket type thing. And a little bit of pale malt and graininess, which is also nice. And almost a little. I know this is probably gonna be pretty dry, but I almost get a little bit of what I would perceive as like caramel sweetness in it too. Um, so the aroma is kind of all over the place, not in a bad way. I think it's a good way because it's complex. But I'm really curious. I mean, look at the freaking lacing on that shit. It's pretty awesome. But that's what I would expect. I mean, the saisons are supposed to be pretty effervescent, and look at that. So let's see what we got in flavor. So I will say the first thing that this makes me think of is Orval. Because Orval has that same, not even like the bready American beers, but just that, it's basically like the Brett character that you get in a lambic, but without the tartness. There is a lot of earthy, grainy character to it. It actually is pretty sweet. Excuse me. But it reminds me of Orval, where people say that Orval is the best beer in the world, and I don't agree with that, but I also understand why people say it, because it's there's no huge flavors to it, but it's incredibly complex and crazy easy to drink. It's definitely grassy too. Let me get some. I mean, yeah, this is a far, far cry from what American saisons are now. I mean, it's grassy, damp, wet, like cement almost. A little bit of caramel sweetness and some skunky character from the green bottle. It's just really unique. I don't know. It's not mind blowing by any means, but like there's not. I can't think of another beer other than Orval that is like this. So it's definitely one of those things that I like. I like it a lot, especially more that it's unique than like it blows me away. But I could see why some people might not like it, and I could also see why some people think it's like the best beer ever, because it is complex without being potent in any direction at all, and it's really, really easy to drink. I don't know, there's something to this. It reminds me of like the bong to my carboys. Like they have that certain smell that's just like an old dusty hop and malty character with a little bit of earthiness, because I do a lot of wild beers too, and that's kind of what this reminds me of. But it's not sour at all, not tart at all. But it definitely has a little bit of a Brett dry. Even though it's sweet, it does have a Brett dryness in a sense that the flavor drops off very quickly. Or I shouldn't say that the flavor lingers, but the sweetness drops off very quickly. It's sweet up front, and then it's just like that unique flavor it has just stays in your mouth for days. Yeah, I can dig on that. So, if I'm going to give my rating between dump it, drink it, buy it, I would say buy it. I mean, if you have had it, you don't need to listen to not necessarily my opinion, but you don't need to listen to my suggestion because you know what you think about it anyways. But if you haven't had this, I would certainly say go out and buy it because it's very unique. And if you really want to know what this style traditionally tastes like before it got bastardized in the U.S., and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I love the U.S. Saisons right now too, but if you want something really traditional that's super easy to drink and it's not that expensive. I mean, I got this bottle I got it for $3.50 because it was half off, but so it's normally at that place $7, which I actually thought was kind of steep for the norm price. I mean, you could probably get one of these 375s for $6 somewhere. So I mean, if you don't like it, you're not spending a crap ton of money either. And now there's only this little bit left. I'm going to swirl it around a little bit to try to get the dregs going because I'm really curious how those taste. But I don't want to rate it on that because that's really not fair. Because most people wouldn't drink that, and that's not necessarily what they expect the average person to drink either. So I'll let that foam set a little bit, and I'll drink that later. But anyways, I enjoyed doing this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. And I look forward to doing the next one. I'm going up to Pittsburgh in a couple weeks, so I'm going to have some awesome Brew Gentlemen Dancing Gnome beers to review. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that too. Thanks. Bye.